Okay, so got an Audi Q5 3 litre V6 TDI. It's the later engine lost power on the motorway, smoke pouring out of the exhaust, etc. It's coming for obviously investigation, low rail pressure, codes set an ECU, crank over the engine, got 30, 35 bar, if that, pressure coming out of the high pressure fuel pump. So it's likely that the fuel pressure is dropped because the pump has broken itself up at speed. When we pulled the fuel filter off, it hasn't been changed for about 4 years and the filter is completely blocked. So we've now got a scenario where it's starved the diesel pump of fuel and it's broken itself to pieces. That being said, it's going to have blocked all the injectors with swarf, all 6, and the pump itself is buried underneath this turbo here. It's a hell of a strip down to get access to the pump to change it. So obviously we're going to start off by removing our plastic bits and pieces, airbox, etc. Apparently this thing was serviced 6,000 miles ago, which hard to believe considering the fuel filter wasn't changed. I don't think that air filter's been changed either. So unfortunately the customer's got to foot this bill, but hey ho. So we start unbolting some of this, start laying it out, and hopefully we can get access to the fuel pump. You do need special tools for this job, which I'll show as we go along, but it's not going to be a step by step as such because there's a lot to do, but it'll be an overview of how to get this apart if you need to access the pump. So here we go. Right, so I'm taking off the cross members, come across the top here, 13mm bolts, 13mm nuts, sorry, 13mm bolt, same the other side, 13mm bolt, 2 nuts, and there's 2 10s under here and here. I'm going to take the cross member off, give it a bit more easy access. So the airbox is removed. Now we're going to concentrate on getting the wiring loom off. So we'll unclip all the wiring loom harness that comes from this side and flip it over and get it out of the way. Things will look a lot more clean and tidy, shall we say, once this is out of the way. So we'll get all this unclipped and fold it over out of the way. Right, so one done. Wiring loom. This to the side. Now we've got water drain and coolant. So we're going to get the coolant bottle out of the way to aid on removal of the injectors. So get the coolant bottle out of the way, undo the lines, one line at the bottom as well, 10mm nut. Get that out of the way, and then we'll look at the intake hose and things like this. Get this out of the way, return lines from the injectors, get that out of the way. So we'll come back and we've got a few more bits off. Right, so removed coolant tank, connector on the bottom of it, 2 10mm nuts, a few pipes on the top, spill off tubes, top of the injectors taken off now. So them out of the equation, disconnected it from the blow valve here. Now I'm going to look at getting this boost hose removed. Start looking at maybe getting this out of the way. Just to get that piece out of the way. So it's moved. Got some connections down here need to go. Then we'll start looking at stripping off the high pressure lines out of the way so we can get access to get this off. So we get these off and come back. Right, so moved high pressure lines from one rail to the other. High pressure line from the pump down there, round to the rail. intake pipe, banjo bolt down here, 4 bolts there, a couple on the bracket. That's now out of the way. Now look at getting the inlet manifold itself off, bolted down, several bolts. Hopefully we can lift the whole lot off. Anything that's bolted to it, just unbolt. Hopefully we can get this out of the way and see what we've got underneath. Okay, so now I've got the inlet manifold off. I had to take the right hand side fuel rail off. Not that it matters because obviously changing the injectors anyway and changing the rails. Now we've got the ER cooler to contend with. Banjo bolt, various other pipes, the bolts, 4 bolts to hold it in. Actually drain your coolant first and we can hopefully get this whole Loom unit out of the way. Pumps here, you can see. Once this is out of the way we should be able to see the pump more clearly. And obviously we've still got to get the turbo, etc. off. But once we get this off we should get a good view of what we're doing underneath it. Okay, so several hours later, we've got the inlet manifold off. Oil, coolers had to come out. Turbos, this is a bi-turbo model, and they're an absolute nightmare to get them out. Not for the faint hearted, this job. Anyway, now we've taken our top cover off as well, and we've now locked our sprocket in place with our tool. So we can now look at removing the pump, get the pump out, and then we'll pull the injectors out in that rail. So, get the pump out, and we go from there. Well, we jumped forward quite a bit, changed over our injectors this side, blown out all our fuel lines, low pressure pumps back in the tank, new fuel rail, pump, new pump's been fitted, removed that pin. Now we're going to start reassembly, turbos back in. Had to remove this rocker cover because somebody's been in here before. An injector on the back had no copper washer, so it had been chuffing, but when we pulled it out we didn't know if the copper washer had fallen off inside this, so we had to take it off to check anyway. So it just wasn't there. So now we're going to restart reassembling the turbos. It's going to be fun. Then oil coolers, etc., and build our way up and go from there. So start getting back on. Okay, so everything's now built back up, turbos back on, top of the engine built, etc. Engine cover to go back on. We'll clear any fault codes that are in the engine. And we'll go for start up. That's how you do, well, it's an overview of how you do the pump on these engines. It's not for the faint hearted. They do need the special tools, but job well done.